look at the state of COVID-19 both in Auburn and nationally. We'll then update you on how you can obtain your own free photo voter ID. We'll also take a look nationally by informing you on the state of the international relations as tensions rise with the situation in Ukraine. Finally, find out this Valentine's week how one restaurant owner opened her heart to help a woman in need. All of that and more is coming up next on Eagle Eye's Monday News at 6.
Good evening and welcome to Eagle Eye News at 6. I'm Sydney Babb.
And I'm Lily Grace Thome. The Auburn University COVID Resource Center has reported 133 new positive COVID cases for the week of January 31st through February 6th. This number is a slight decrease from the previous week's numbers of 333, continuing the consistent decline of cases since Auburn students arrived back on campus here at Auburn for the spring semester. In addition, the center has also reported that out of the 394 on-campus administered tests, 77 came back with a positive result. That is a 19.5% positivity rate, which is a slight decrease from the previous week's 27% as well. The East Alabama Medical Center has seen a greater number of hospitalizations and ventilator usage since the start of the new semester. The center itself continues to reside in visitation level red. You can stay updated on Auburn's COVID situation by visiting the Auburn COVID Resource Center website.
Taking a more national look, a major development in the effect to protect the youngest Americans from COVID-19 has occurred. On Friday, the FDA announced that a meeting to discuss vaccines for children 6 months through 4 years has been postponed. Mandy Gaither explains why and where this decision leaves parents.
It's the best protection against severe COVID-19, but right now vaccines are not approved for children ages 6 months through 4 years. The FDA was supposed to meet Tuesday to discuss the matter, but today the agency postponed that meeting, saying new data has recently emerged on Pfizer's emergency use authorization request for its vaccine for children in that age group. The company had originally provided information on a 2-dose series. Now Pfizer says it expects to have 3-dose data by early April.
The delays here reflect the fact that they decreased the dose for these younger kids in order to make sure that it was safe. Unfortunately, it looks like that decreased dose decreased the effectiveness of the vaccine a little bit, which is why they need the 3 shots instead of just 2.
Pfizer says it will extend its rolling submission as it continues to collect and submit more information. The company has not pulled its EUA application. In a statement, the heads of the FDA saying this will give the agency time to consider the additional data, allowing for a transparent public discussion as part of our usual scientific and regulatory processes for COVID-19 vaccines.
I know how incredibly frustrating and disappointing this is for parents of those under 5 kids. The process works, that these vaccines will not be approved until we are sure that they are both safe and effective.
The FDA says once the new data is in, it will be evaluated as quickly as possible. I'm Mandy Gaither reporting.
Starting around 6:30 a.m. on Sunday, February 20th, residents of the Auburn area can expect various road closures in anticipation of the War Eagle Run Fest Half Marathon and 5K. Road closures will include parts of Magnolia Avenue, College Street, Thatch Avenue, Sanford Avenue, North Donahue Drive, Bird Street, South Donahue Drive, Heisman Drive, and Lim Morrison Drive. Road closures are expected to continue until 11 a.m. when both races end and are re-expected to open as runners complete each section of the race. Motorists are advised to take alternate routes. For more information on the full list of road closures, visit news.auburnalabama.org.
The Auburn area was shocked after what seemed to be a road rage incident outside of a school. Eagle Eye's Jack Greenwald has more.
Last week on Thursday, February 3rd, an Auburn Police school resource officer assigned to Richland Road School had responded directly to what they suspected were gunshots. It was your everyday road rage incident, but with a dangerous twist. It all began around 7:40 a.m. at Richland Road and Yarborough Farms Boulevard, where the officer witnessed 2 men in the middle of a physical altercation, which led to one party discharging a firearm. First responders arrived at the scene quickly and provided life-saving support until EMS arrived. The perpetrator remains in custody, while the victim was transferred to Piedmont Columbus Regional Hospital by a lifesaver helicopter. The incident did not involve Richland Road School, but occurred nearby, prompting temporary lockdown measures to take place. The investigation still remains underway.
Searching for activities that you can do while spending some time with a loved one this Valentine's Day? Well, look no further. Involvement Ambassador Travis Harrison is here to give you the scoop on all the activities and events that you can get involved with on campus this week.
Hello everyone, welcome to the first weekly involvement update of the semester. My name is Travis Harrison and I'm the president of the Involvement Ambassadors. The first thing coming up is Auburn University Dance Marathon's main event that will be this Saturday. It'll be from 10 a.m. until 10 p.m. and students are encouraged to come throughout the whole event so you don't have to stay the whole time. Main event is AUDM's yearly fundraising event that celebrates the work that AUDM has put in to help the Benefit Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Throughout the day, there will be multiple events such as a hypnotist, presentation, and meals. So you can register all the way up until the day of the event. Next up, Monday, the application for the Involvement Ambassador position will be open. There will be a form on the Involvement Ambassadors page on AU Involve where you can apply. We're also hosting 2 information sessions, one on Tuesday and one on Thursday, to teach you more about the position and the application process. The Tuesday session will be from 12:30 to 1:30 in the Melton Student Center, room 2222. The Thursday session will be in the library at 4:30 p.m. in room 3133. Please attend these sessions and consider applying to be a part of the team. The AUBI program is also going to be hosting information sessions about applying to be AUBI and about applying to be the director of AUBI. Info sessions will be on Tuesday the 15th. The info session about AUBI will be at 10 a.m. in the Student Center, room 2310. The session for the director of AUBI will be at 8 p.m. also in the Student Center, room 2216. If you are unable to make either of these info sessions, don't worry. They're going to be hosting more in the future and you'll be able to find those on AU Involve. Next Friday, the 18th, the International Student Organization will be hosting their social hour. This event this week will be hosted with the African Student Association and they'll be in the Student Center, room 2222 from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. This is a great opportunity to meet students, learn about different cultures, and get some free food. So I encourage all of you to get out there. They do it every single week. That's all the updates that we have for this week, but as always, there are more events going on than we have time to talk about. So make sure you go on to AU Involve, you sign in, and you go to the event tabs to see everything else that will be going on next week. I hope everyone's having a great start to their semester. War Eagle.
When we return from this short break, get your paint on by taking a special class hosted by the Auburn Arts Association and a famous Auburn alum. Then find out what Auburn Police are urging you to look for in a scam call. You're watching Eagle Eye News at 6.
The Jewel Collins Smith Museum of Fine Arts has named its first endowed position honoring Janet L. Nolan, Director of Curatorial Affairs, to Auburn alumna Erin Levi Garvey. Selected to assume a reimagined curatorial role for Auburn, Garvey is a Jewish-American curator and historian whose work in modern and contemporary arts and culture revolves around notions of creating community and broadening its definition. Garvey comes from a chief curator role at Jonah Boker Arts Foundation in New York. He says, "I am honored to be entrusted with this position, the legacy of Miss Nolan, and to continue my work creating measurable community impact through exhibitions and collecting building at an R1 University museum." For more information about this appointment, as well as the Julie Collins Smith Museum of Fine Arts, visit jcsm.auburn.edu. Speaking of art, the Auburn Arts Association is proud to sponsor Introduction to Oil Painting and Plein Air with artist Jill Holt. This will be a one-day workshop hosted on March 9th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. for beginner to intermediate painters. Participants will leave with a finished painting and lunch will be provided. Jill Holt is an Auburn alumna who has worked with Daniel Green and John Howard. She has participated in workshops in the Dolomites and Venice, Italy, and her painting repertoire includes plein air commissions, originals, and teaching workshops. Registration is currently underway at the Harris Center for $125. For more information about the workshop, visit auburnalabama.org/arts. Due to recent concerns regarding various phone scams perpetrated by individuals outside the Auburn area, The Auburn Police Department wishes to remind citizens to use caution when providing personal information over the phone or internet. They warn that some scams involve residents being informed that the caller is from a government agency seeking information or collecting funds owed, or instead of prosecution. The department cautions that if you receive a questionable call, to hang up and call back using a recognized number for the organization in question or contact the police. To follow Auburn Public Safety on social media and stay up to date on all public safety concerns, search COA Public Safety on your preferred social networking site.
Governor Kay Ivey recently announced that beginning Monday, April 18th, spanning through Tuesday, April 26th, that driver license offices must be closed statewide. During these office closures, registered Alabama voters will still be able to obtain a free voter ID by visiting their county board of registrar's office or Secretary of State's office. To receive this free photo voter ID card, applicants must provide a photo ID document or a non-photo ID document containing their full legal name and date of birth, be a registered voter in Alabama, and cannot have any valid form of photo ID acceptable at the polls. For any questions or concerns regarding obtaining a voter photo ID, contact the Secretary of State's Election Division at 334-242-7210.
Now let's take a look at the impact our local community is making on the world by leaving it a cleaner and greener place. Eagle Eye's Lainey Mayfield has more.
It was a day of service. Students from Auburn University, Auburn Junior High, and the local research group ARPAS cleaned Baptist Hill Cemetery. It's the oldest African-American cemetery in Auburn.
I'm not a spiritual person, but it's good for your spirit. You know, you're helping people.
Located on South Dean Road and Thatch Avenue, the 4-acre cemetery contains over 500 marked graves, with the oldest dating back to 1879. But even though Baptist Hill is a staple in Auburn's history, it does not receive regular grave maintenance from local groundskeepers.
The city doesn't own Baptist Hill Cemetery. The cemetery itself is a community cemetery. It doesn't have a deed. And so the city can only do so much with land that it doesn't own.
Auburn University professor Robert Bubbs says the city can cut and trim the lawns, but it's left up to the community to care for Baptist Hill as much as possible.
And we get out there and just try to straighten up, maintain, pick up, debris, pick up branches, clean up any kind of litter that's out there.
In addition to cleaning the cemetery, some volunteers had another goal in mind.
We're just here today to make sure that this history is still preserved.
Auburn Junior High teacher Logan Shattuck says some of his students are gathering information about those buried in Baptist Hill with the help of college students. He says the stories of the deceased are important.
These are local individuals who lived, breathed, and died in Auburn, right? So we have students they're researching individuals from the 1910s that were in censuses back then, and individuals who don't really have much of a story.
Shattuck says cleaning cemeteries offers a new perspective on life and a brilliant way to serve the community. The next cemetery cleanup is scheduled for spring of 2022. But in the meantime, volunteers urge people to visit the resting place and remember one thing.
Everybody buried in the cemetery was a human being. They had thoughts, they had emotion, love, loss, all sorts of things going on in their lives, and they deserve to be remembered just as much as we all think that we will be remembered one day.
Reporting for Eagle Eye TV, Lainey Mayfield.
When we come back, we'll take a look at how this year's Super Bowl may have costed viewers more than they expected. Then learn why trucker protests in Canada have U.S. officials concerned. You're watching Eagle Eye TV, Auburn's news leader.
Tensions keep swirling around Ukraine as, by U.S. estimates, more than 100,000 Russian troops are placed near the country's border. Multiple countries are calling on their citizens to flee as officials warn a potential strike could be imminent. John Lorick reports.
6 months. President Joe Biden spoke with his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky Sunday, promising to respond swiftly and decisively if Russia takes further action against Ukraine.
An invasion could begin, a major military action could begin by Russia in Ukraine any day now. That includes this coming week before the end of the Olympics.
The talk with Zelensky comes one day after Biden warned Russian President Vladimir Putin in a phone call with swift and severe costs if Ukraine is invaded.
We are prepared with a package of potential economic consequences that will hit many of those oligarchs and make clear to Russia that there are real costs to pay for this.
Although preparations are underway, including the U.S. providing Ukraine with 180 tons of ammunition, the White House and some top lawmakers are hoping for a peaceful resolution.
The best thing that could happen is for us to pass a sanctions package, pre-invasion with a waiver, post-invasion sanctions that would destroy the ruble and cripple the Russian economy, so Putin could see it in writing. That might help him decide not to invade.
Some analysts say Putin could punish himself if he goes ahead with military action.
It might strengthen ties between Ukraine and the European Union. It also has created a stronger sense of Ukrainian national identity. And it's hard for me to see how that helps either Mr. Putin or Russia.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
The cost of a Super Bowl party this year was expected to be very steep. Wells Fargo crunched the numbers and found that depending on what you serve, the price tag could be 14% higher than last year. New Labor Department figures released Thursday also show the cost of everyday goods rose 7.5% in January compared to a year ago. Isabel Rosales has what experts say is behind the surging costs.
Your Super Bowl party this 2022 may be the most expensive one you've ever hosted.
I expect to see the biggest Super Bowl spending ever because we have the largest economy ever.
Wells Fargo added it all up. Chief agricultural economist Michael Swanson says that price tag could be 14% higher than last year. The most expensive item is meat.
Proteins are what's really packing the punch for inflation.
According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, prices for both fresh and frozen chicken wings are up nearly 12%. Ground beef is 13% higher, and steaks soared 17% over last year. Soda is up more than 9% more for a 12-pack of 12-ounce cans compared to 2021. And beer is up nearly 6%, according to BLS data. And guacamole will cost you too. Bloomberg found exporting Hass avocados from Mexico costs nearly 25% more than last year. So what's behind the rising costs? Experts blame high demand, labor shortages, and the ongoing supply chain issues. Grocery owners say they're often forced to pass along the pain to consumers when the companies they buy products from increase prices.
Like our ranchers out in Kansas, they would love to run the packing plant 6 days a week right now, but they are like on 5 days a week. They don't have enough workers.
To trim costs, experts recommend your game day spread is loaded with potentially lower price options like veggies and fruits. Also, buy items in bulk and go with cheaper generic or store name brands. I'm Isabel Rosales reporting.
As trucker protests continue to block borders between Canada and the United States, some major business groups are urging the Canadian government to act. This as some fear similar protests could start in the U.S. Daryl Forges has the latest.
A state of emergency declared in Ottawa as Canadian leaders seek more authority to remove the Freedom Convoy protesters blocking 3 major crossings between Canada and the United States.
This is an illegal blockade. And while people have the right to protest, they don't have a right to illegally block the largest land border crossing in North America.
Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer says the blockades are causing economic strains and hindering the already struggling supply chain.
This is 5 days and it's already taking a toll of tens of millions of dollars.
Protesters want all Canadian coronavirus restrictions and mandates lifted at the national level.
You would risk your life rather than leave this protest at the moment.
100%. Absolutely 100%.
I'm fighting like our veterans did for the freedom of this country, which Trudeau's taking away from us.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is not budging.
Everything is on the table because this unlawful activity has to end.
Now, the Department of Homeland Security is warning similar protests could disrupt cities in the U.S., including around Sunday's Super Bowl.
You could see there'd be a disruption. People might miss the kickoff. They might miss Snoop Dogg at halftime, but I think the game could definitely go on.
I'm Daryl Forges reporting.
When we return, we'll take a look at how people are celebrating the holiday of love, and we'll introduce you to one shining pet of the week. You're watching Eagle Eye News at 6. Stay tuned.
A Americans are willing to pay up to show their love this Valentine's Day. Across the U.S., people are expected to spend nearly $24 billion on Valentine's Day gifts this year, according to the National Retail Federation. That's up to nearly 22 billion last year. As for what people will buy, they'll pretty much stick to the classics. Candy, greeting cards, and flowers, in that order, top the list of most popular Valentine's Day gift items this year.
With Valentine's Day finally here, it's easy to hear stories of the love between friends and significant others. But what about the love between two strangers, or a mother and her child? One stranger, a restaurant owner on her way to work, was able to find enough love in her heart to help another stranger when she found a car stopped on the side of the road.
I mean, I was shaking.
Stella Nisnik was on her way to work at her chicken and the egg restaurant this morning. She had just left her yoga class.
Usually you set an intention, so I told myself my intention was to do something good for someone today.
Her intentions would be put to good use, driving through downtown Miami when she came across a car parked in the middle of the street and a woman.
The woman was pregnant and wearing a dress, and I could see blood all over her legs.
Nisnik pulled over and called 911.
So the lady asked me, "What do you have in your car?"
She had her yoga mat. The 911 operator asked her to use it and follow her instructions.
"You need to take a look what's going on." I'm like, okay. So I look. I'm like, well, I see the head, and I see the baby's head and the hair, and she's like, okay, now I need you to take a deep breath, and I need you to stay calm. You need to deliver this baby right now. I was like on the phone, like, what? My first thought was, I didn't even sanitize my hands.
There she was in the middle of downtown Miami on this curb.
So, I mean, I'm pushing with one hand, and with the other hand, I just started slapping her legs. I'm like yelling at her like crazy. I'm like, come on, Mom, you got this. Just keep on pushing, push. I'm slapping her legs, pushing here. And then eventually the baby just perfectly landed in my hands.
The perfectly healthy baby girl delivered by a well-intentioned stranger who chose to stop. The newborn's father, who recently arrived from Haiti, telling us how no one stopped to help except for her. He says he doesn't have the words to describe how thankful he is.
We don't stop often enough. That could have probably turned out totally different.
Looking for a diamond in the rough? Well, we've got you covered. Our new pet of the week is Diamond, who's looking for a perfect new forever family and thinks it could be you. This pretty sweet girl loves spending time with people and is quite the self-proclaimed lapdog. She always wants to be by your side and promises to warm up the chilly nights by cuddling next to you. Diamond is 2 years old, spayed, vaccinated, and microchipped. She's heartworm negative, and her adoption fee is $115. Apply online for her today. We're out of time, but for more Auburn news, head over to our website, eagleeyeauburn.com, and check out our social media pages. I'm Sydney Babb.
And I'm Lily Grace Thome. Thank you for watching, and War Eagle.